Thank you. I guess I'm the only non-American here among the speakers. Okay, good evening. If you are from developing countries, I bet you know about international scholarship programs. If you're not, let me explain it to you. International scholarship programs are sponsored by developed countries such as the USA, Germany, Netherlands, Australia, and so forth. They give scholarships to the citizens of developing countries so that the citizens can study at universities overseas to obtain bachelor, master's, or doctoral degree. The idea actually is simple. That is, the scholarship sponsors expect the scholarship recipients to contribute to the national community development after they finish their study. They expect the scholarship recipients to be able to give impact to many people and participate in addressing social, economic, or even political issues in their home country. The idea is very good, and I wouldn't say that international scholarship programs are bad, because me myself, I have received 2 international scholarship programs. I did my master's in the UK, funded by International Fellowship Programs for Foundation, and now I'm studying PhD at Lehigh, funded by a Fulbright scholarship from the US government. However, there is one thing that we need to be aware of. That is, every international scholarship program, they apply certain requirements that have to be fulfilled by the applicants. One of the requirements is TOEFL. It stands for Test of English as a Foreign Language. If you're not from English-speaking countries, you have to take this test, and it's not cheap. If you go to a city where you can find US Embassy, Australia Embassy, or other embassies easily, or you can find educational institutions everywhere, and then you ask the people, do you know about TOEFL? They will probably say, I do. Or probably they are studying about TOEFL because they have the financial resources to take TOEFL course or TOEFL test. But if you go to the villages or remote areas and you ask the people about, do you know about TOEFL? That will probably be the first time they hear the name TOEFL. Or they know about TOEFL, they've been dreaming about studying overseas, but because they don't have financial resources, they cannot take TOEFL course or TOEFL tests. Or in their areas, there is no any educational institution that can teach them about TOEFL. In this case, it means that they will not be able to apply for a scholarship because they cannot fulfill the requirements. This situation is what we call as the gap. I wouldn't say this is the gap between international scholarship programs and the city, because probably some of the people who live in the city, they cannot afford to take a TOEFL test because of the limited financial resources. But this is more about the gap between international scholarship programs and people who live in disadvantaged conditions. I define disadvantaged condition is as when a person lives in a place that limit them to have more access to educational opportunities. They have limited financial resources, or they have limited knowledge about how to get better opportunities. So this is the gap, and I've been thinking about this gap since I got my master's degree. I was lucky at the time. I'm actually one of the people who live in disadvantaged conditions. But I was lucky at the time. Why? I could not afford to take a TOEFL test or TOEFL course at the time, but I was lucky. I found a scholarship that did not apply or put TOEFL as the first requirement. So I could apply for the scholarship. When I passed the first stage of the selection processes, the scholarship paid for my TOEFL test and everything. So in that case, I was lucky. But now you can barely find such kind of scholarship. So the question is how to bridge this gap between international scholarship programs and people who live in disadvantaged condition. I do realize that I cannot change the regulation applied by the scholarship sponsor. So I need to think of something else to bridge this gap. In May 2015, this year, I launched a program, a free online TOEFL course. I want to reach the people who live in disadvantaged conditions in Indonesia. I thought it is not really interesting for Indonesian people. After all, this is online course. But I was surprised because when I opened the registration in May for 1 week, then I closed it. It turned out about 4,000 people registered for the course. In the following month, I opened the registration again. About more than 2,000 people signed up for the course. It's really surprising, and it really convinced me the gap is there, but it's unseen. And what is more interesting is that the students have various backgrounds. Some of them are high school students, university students, even professional workers and housewives. And one more thing, they all spread out throughout Indonesia. If you look at this map, Indonesia consists of 5 biggest islands. If you look at this map, only the gray color where you cannot find the students. And also, we have some students who live abroad. Hong Kong, Germany, Egypt, and others. And I once asked the students, why did you choose to join this program? Most of them answered, they said, I did not have the financial resources to take a TOEFL course or TOEFL test. Others said, I did not have anybody that can teach me about TOEFL. So this is really in the frame that I call as disadvantaged conditions. And then, because I want to make this course to reach those people who live in disadvantaged conditions, if you want to reach people in the villages through technology, you have to think about the technological barriers. So I have to think about how I should deliver this course, because I cannot use video. It will take a lot of internet connection, and you cannot find a strong internet connection in villages. So it turned out I used 3 platforms. First one is blog. I like writing on my blog, and now I no longer use my blog for writing, reflecting my mind, but now I use it for Sekolah TOEFL. Sekolah means school, so School of TOEFL. And all the materials are uploaded on my blog, and the students can access it from their home. If they don't have computer, they can go to a place where they can rent like half an hour or for 1 hour. They can download the materials, print it out, and then bring it home. So all the materials, skills, the students have a learning schedule for a week, so they know what they have to learn for this week. The other one is I use Facebook group. So like this week, for example, the student, have to learn skill 1 and 2. On Sunday, we have an online meeting. This is weekly online meeting where the students and the mentor meet online. We discuss about the materials, and also the student can ask me questions and I can answer their questions directly. Then I use WhatsApp. The good thing about WhatsApp is if you can access Facebook, you can access WhatsApp. It can be used in a slow internet connection. In Indonesia, we have like Chinese smartphone products that are very cheap. So usually those who live in the villages, they can afford to buy it. And if they can access Facebook, they can access WhatsApp as well. The function of WhatsApp here is to facilitate the students' interaction. So the students can interact with their friends. They can interact with me as well. So I can show up in the groups on a daily basis. So we have WhatsApp to facilitate the interaction on a daily basis, although we are very far in distance, but we are still connected. And also we have Facebook as an weekly online meeting, and also we have blog. So this is how I design Sekolah TOEFL. to reach those people who live in disadvantaged condition. This one picture of the students who was taking the TOEFL test. So besides teaching them about TOEFL, I also ran TOEFL prediction tests for them. They are very happy because usually they have to pay for that. And also, here, the students, they can do it online or print the material. And the good thing is, I don't give the regulation to them. And I just give them regulation. I said that if you do structured tests, you have to do it within 25 minutes. If you do reading comprehension, you have to do it within 55 minutes. They told me it's really difficult. Why? Because we have to be honest. We have to time ourselves. Although you didn't watch us, we will feel very guilty if we cheated. Here, it teaches me something. If you raise the awareness of the students about their learning, they will adjust themselves. And this is one of the students who was taking the test on the train when she went home. I heard a lot of stories. So, for example, one of the students told me, I took the test when I was waiting for my wife's giving birth. So it's kind of, my God. This kind of stories I hear almost every week, and it really touches my heart. It's like saying that, please don't leave me. But this is really something that not a lot of people realize about this gap. This house, it exists in Wamena, Papua. It's one of remote areas in Indonesia. One of my students live here. She doesn't live in this house, but she said that my neighborhood is like this. When I visited my friends, I did one study in their house like this. And also, this is the people in her neighborhood. You can call them, probably you call them indigenous people, right? In Papua, you can find this kind of indigenous people. And this is the children around her homes. And why am I showing you this? I would like to tell you that how could you expect that people who live in such environment to be able to learn about TOEFL? Who can teach them? How can they afford to pay for the TOEFL? Of course, you do good things. You give scholarships, but you put the requirements. If you give the opportunities, but the opportunities do not really reach those people who need, so you have to think about it again. This is one of the students from Sumba. In her neighborhood, a lot of people suffer from malnutrition. She told me that I really want to study abroad. I need to learn how to deal with malnutrition problem. But of course, the language is the obstacle. This is one of the students who is studying bachelor degree at Al-Azhar University in Egypt. And this is the last one of Indonesian workers in Hong Kong. She's also one of the students. I've been running Sekolah TOEFL since May 2015. Some of the students have been successful winning scholarship. Some of them are still in the selection process. Most of them are still learning about TOEFL and struggling to increase their score. One thing that I would like to express in this occasion, that is, the gap is there, but unseen. There has been a considerable increase in the number of scholarships offered to the citizens of developing countries. But still, TOEFL is one of the requirements. I don't know why. I know that is difficult because it also will cost a lot of money, but really, we cannot judge that somebody cannot do something while she or he does not have the privilege to learn about it. Maybe if we give them more opportunities, they will probably perform even better. Thank you.